Welcome back to another episode of Boys Love Iland, episode 8? What's 4 plus 4? How are you in your part 2 understanding? You have been nervous.
I was nervous, wasn't I?
How do you feel?
This was a good episode. I still felt like the drama of part 1 still lives here. The producers control this elimination. So it feels like, still feels very part 1-ish. So it's a nice transition.
The second part, definitely like structure-wise, is definitely different.
Yeah.
As we had found out last episode, Taki had used his power as first leader to, instead of choosing the song, he had chosen his team. And then K chose the song. He chose DNA. Jungwon chose I Need You. Taki's group was stuck with Fake Love. Point of contention. There was a lot of trailer drama.
Kay and Jungwon kind of like laugh about it. I do wonder if it's more like they thought it was cute that Taki was like, make your decision, and he goes like Sung Hoon Hyung. Like it's almost like he wants, like, his priority is to like work with Sung Hoon, is to work with Heesung.
Yeah. After that, I think they said that the producers then picked who was in the other two teams. So in DNA, it ends up being K, Niki, J, and Hanbin. I just wrote Han, and then I was like, I could only think of Han.
Girl, you're shorthand.
It's so
you
bad.
gotta know what you're writing.
I know. And then I Need You as everybody else. So that's Daniel, Gonu, Jungwon, and Jake. I think this is a good. I think they're distributed well.
They're all even.
The DNA group does feel like dance heavy.
Absolutely.
I think DNA is the only one that feels like dance forward. Who do you want? Should we do it in the order of the performances?
Yeah.
Okay. So first group to go is DNA. So DNA's backstory.
It's so good. I literally was eating this up.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, it was so good to watch.
So DNA is quickly recognized by the other two teams as like the group to beat. Honestly, anytime Niki is in a group, it's the group to beat. They are very clear about their understanding of what his talent level is. They go to distribute parts, and Kay offers Niki to have part 1, PO1. But Niki is struggling a bit with the vocals. The keys in this episode struggle with the vocals.
Yeah.
I have to stop itching my nose. People are going to think I have a cocaine habit.
Yes, especially since one of the shows we cover is about cocaine.
It's not about cocaine.
We don't know.
It's tangentially about cocaine.
Niki is carrying the cross of like, I am in a low rank coming into this.
Which is funny because Hanbin has the lowest rank on his team.
I know. I mean, he is the person that was affected the most by being told every test, one person will be eliminated.
Yeah.
And that it is an individual competition now.
Yes, I didn't say that. They make it very explicit that we are in an individual competition.
Yeah.
And so what they mean by that, okay, for you at home, but just because you're not in the bottom group doesn't mean that's going to be the group that goes home. Like, you're not safe because you're in the top group, blah, blah, blah. Even though technically in this episode you are, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't mean you don't want to do well as a whole unit. Okay. It's a yes and.
It's a yes and.
I think he's worried. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Let's be generous and say that. So they are rehearsing, and Niki does this like improv, like ad lib where he goes like blah blah. Because he based it on something Taeyong did, and Kay sees it in the like playback, and he's like, "What is he doing?" And Jay's like, "Oh, looks like he did an ad lib." And then, oh my god,
there's so many good things happening in this moment. They are in this practice room. Hanbin is eating snacks. I don't know if he doesn't know what's going on.
Come back
Hanbin and
together
Niki come back
with snacks that they had grabbed.
Yes, Hanbin is like eating these snacks. Kay is talking to Niki in Japanese.
In Japanese specifically.
And it's just like, what was that? What was this move?
And Niki's like, oh, I just did it. And Kay is not thrilled.
Not happy at all.
Not happy at all. So then Niki goes over to like watch the BTS video to be like, I think to figure out how he can like make it look good.
It's not in the choreo they were given.
It's not in the choreo they were given. DNA was like multiple years into like BTS's oeuvre. So they've kind of established that like they each have kind of a charisma in their performances. I don't think like debut they would have been like, I'm just gonna start ad-libbing things. You know what I mean? But okay. So then he goes to watch, and K is not gonna let it go. Because Niki was like, not that he was having an attitude, but he looked like he went to watch the videos over and over again, blah, 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 blah. So it looks like he wasn't going to let it go. And like they have this like exchange, first of all, in the practice room first, next to Jay. There's this moment where Jay literally, like his whole body language changes and shifts over and like is trying to like not be involved in this conversation. Yeah. That they're having in Japanese.
Which Jay speaks a little Japanese, so I'm sure that he understood parts of it.
Yeah, I wonder how much he spoke here, or if he started learning it I'm curious, yeah.
Of them just being like, it's a group effort, like it just looks really selfish, it just looks bad, blah, 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 that you're doing something different. Niki sulks.
Niki's a 14-year-old who does not take criticism well.
Absolutely.
Wow. Shocking.
But Kay will not let this go.
No.
So he's like, come here. He literally says, like, Niki, come here.
Come into the
dressing room so that they can have a private conversation. That's not private because they are microphoned.
They are mic'd. Oh no, Kay.
And in this dressing room, he is just like scolding him.
Yes. He says you only think about yourself. It's clear that like you're just trying to pull focus. Like it's very, I mean, he is calling out what Niki is doing.
Right.
Niki is doing that because he wants to like stand out.
Because he has a lower, and Niki says it. He's like, it's because I have a lower, I'm scared for my rank.
Yeah.
I want to do something that they might remember.
Right. Sung Duk comes for the like midway through checkup. They do performances for each other, and he doesn't do it there. But then they get like one-on-one time, and he does it there. The fuck was that?
Don't do that.
Yeah. And he was like, okay. And then he also basically says the same thing of being like, why are you trying to make it about you when this is about the team right now? And then he asks the group, like, did you know that this was happening? And they were like,
Yeah, because you don't want to obviously rat out your teammate, but also like they did know, but it was he stopped doing it and then he did it again. But I do think Niki is a person who's like, I would much rather hear it from him than Kay.
But also like Niki and Kay are like how much different? 8 years.
8 years.
That might as well be like 3 generations of time that you go through in developing and like And I will say this. Okay, first of all, this doesn't make me hate Kay.
No, absolutely not.
This is what's okay.
It definitely paints the whole character for Kay, but I do think
Let me finish what happened. So they have this thing. Niki and Kay keep butting heads about this. And it's because
Niki won't stop sulking.
Niki won't stop sulking. And Kay is getting really frustrated that he's not like actually practicing because they're all trying to work really hard. He yells at Niki again. And then Niki goes off to the bathroom. Like,
I'm tired. We're all tired.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to do this, then
he says, get your shit together, Carol from Bridesmaids. Niki leaves to go to the bathroom and starts crying. And then Kay goes and comforts him.
Yes.
And then later, when they're in the
Niki and Hanbin are in the dorm.
Niki and Hanbin are in the dorm, and they're like talking. And Hanbin's like, you guys just need to make up. Like, it's fine. You're both trying your best. You're both working really hard. You're both really tired. It's probably the best moment of the show for Hanbin.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's very clear that everyone likes him. He like gives great advice. He listens. He's like definitely someone you would want in a team situation because he's like a good mediating energy. And then Kay comes in and like lays down next to Niki and just like is like close to him and being kind. And this is what I'm going to say. If there was an evil edit happening, you would not, if you really wanted to evil edit Kay, which you could do with what happens in this episode, it does not include him going back into the bathroom to apologize for making Niki upset and saying like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. I just like, we're all stressed. And it doesn't include him coming into the bedroom and trying to like, just be
close to him.
Yeah, just be like, I'm here for you. Yeah. That's the energy he came into that bedroom with. It's not mean. He's not mean. He's intense. This is why I can't be a dancer. But like, so we've also seen Niki be super intense about stuff like this too. So it's more that just like, I think they're so similar.
Totally.
That's why it's like causing the friction. Mm-hmm. I just don't think this is an evil edit. I think this is they show what happened because that was the drama of like how they got to this challenge.
That was the hurdle that they had to go through.
So the DNA performance. The DNA performance comes. I think these are the best outfits. I think they're so cute.
I liked Niki's the best, obviously, because it's the tie-dye.
It's, I think, the most color we've gotten on all the performances on the show, which is great.
What do you think about DNA?
I thought it was good. I think all three of these are really good.
I think all three are good. I understand what the judges are saying for all of them, I think.
I think the judges' critiques are really fair.
Yes, but I think they were all holding the performances at a higher standard
than what
they got.
We're in part 2. Yeah, they're definitely like, raising the bar. I think they work really good as a unit. I think their like moves were hitting really hard.
This is a very well balanced group.
I thought
Hanbin did the best, which is shocking because I don't think the judges saw that.
Yeah,
but I liked Hanbin the most because he was the one that like made eye contact with the camera the most and like had the most expressions. I think one of the things they were saying was like the expressions felt nervous, and Kay not so much, but they showed Kay in the clip of like, it looks like they're nervous about making that this is a brighter
it was
song.
weird that they picked that
for Kay
because I thought he did really well, and especially in his facial expressions.
I think it was more Niki. I felt Niki and Jay were the ones that were more struggling with the expressions, or at least like it's the first time that they get to really do it, and so it's new to them.
I felt that Jay had the most difficult time with this song, in the performance at least. And I think there was part of me that wondered if it was because he had the sweater over one shoulder thing that I've talked about before.
Yeah. And his hair was full Jungkook bang. Like it was a full bang. You couldn't even really see his eyes.
Right. I wondered if the shoulder, he just felt like more stiff than the other three. That was the only thing I really noticed, but only because I was looking for something. They were so strong and so cohesive though.
Totally.
And that song, that choreo is so about working together. It's built on that concept. I thought they did really good. I think Niki's solo at that one part was great. I think he really had worked on his facial expressions. And then they get 287 points out of a possible 400. Our next performance is I Envy You. And by that, I mean I Need You.
Right off the bat, everyone is
doesn't even notice.
It's crazy because Jungwon is no one talked about how we're a possible threat to winning this.
Yes. And then they show them at breakfast. I didn't even talk about Kay at breakfast with Taki on his lap.
Oh, yeah. Well, because it really happens here. That's
true. That's where you see it.
Because I had to pause it and was it's so crazy because Jungwon is no one's talking about it, which is getting in his head of
he's fully creating this own thing for himself.
He's no one thinks that people think that we're the worst one and that we should be in the bottom. He's just come up with that because it's no one at breakfast was talking about how we're a good, or they're excited or scared for us.
Yeah.
And Adam was I'm just looking at Taki on Kay,
sitting on Kay's lap
as just a baby, just
I was dying. I couldn't believe it was happening. And then Jungwon at one point, like in that breakfast conversation, he's like, yeah, I think we have a good group too. Hoping anyone will be like, yeah, you do. And no one takes the bait.
They're just like, yeah, fake love. What a crazy group.
Yeah, it's so funny. Gonu seems to have a different energy than part 1 of this show.
Yes. His confidence is fully shot.
Yes.
I would say.
Falling out of Iland right before the end, I think really did a number on this poor boy.
Yeah.
And it's very sad to see because he is so incredibly talented. Mm-hmm. And Daniel also has like this little bit of a thing where he's like, I'm working really hard because I know I lack in some areas that like the other members of this group don't. And so he's like, they show him like rehearsing alone and stuff like that. So they seem like they're going to be narrative wise the 2 weakest for the song.
Yeah, especially since Daniel is number 2 in the ranking, so it's like he has a lot to prove.
Yes. At the check-in, at the all together check-in, they don't. We don't even see them perform.
We don't. So Jungwon was right.
So nobody cares.
Nobody cares when
they keep doing this. They ask at the check-in. They ask them like, "Oh, it seems like nobody's worried about you guys." And Jungwon's like, "Well, we're just hoping we surprise them and pull out a win." Which is absolutely the answer you go with. That is, you would win the pageant with that answer for sure, Jungwon. Don't worry, because he does it again later when they actually go to perform in front of everybody.
At their midway check,
they're 1-on-1. Yeah,
Sun Sung-duk is like, just so you know, I know you already do, but this is the most important song probably in Big Hit.
Yeah, it's like, a lot rides on this song.
Just like this song is the moment that like, you know, catapulted our entire company's success. So
these are all people who like made these songs the first time.
I know.
And I just think like there's not going to be objectivity in the way I think you would need for them to be like helpful. I don't think anything. I think Sun Sung-duk is like a brilliant choreographer. I think he did a great job with everything he's done with Big Hit and BTS. I think he is an energy that would like stress me the absolute fuck out as like a coach or a mentor. Like I would like retreat. This does not pull me out and make me do better. This makes me like freak out and withdraw. I don't think what his criticisms are in this episode, especially, I don't think they're wrong. Mm-hmm. Everything he points out, I was like, oh yeah, I think that is the missing link here. I do just wish, like, I get why they're doing a BTS challenge, right? But, like, I wish they weren't because they're all too close to these original texts.
Yes, totally.
And the boys aren't. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, you're only going to be like, why can't you do it more like BTS? And it's like, because nobody can.
Because no one can.
That's why it's there. So, I mean, like...
Yeah. I think it's a double-edged sword because I do like the fact that they are working with people who will work with them if they debut.
Yeah.
They will be hearing, Sun Sung-duk will be there.
Right.
Dubu and like everyone will be there. Uh-huh. So I do like that aspect of it. I mean, like in hindsight, pulling back, Fake Love obviously is the most successful out of all of the 3 performances because I think Fake Love, they are not just trying to copy the BTS performance.
It does feel like Fake Love, they interpret the text.
They interpret it and they're more focused about like the song because I mean,
your nails are so long. Your nails are out of control.
I think Sun Sung-duk, what he's trying to get to is more about the emotion, right?
Totally.
I don't think the boys are understanding. They just think, oh, I just need to look like I am expressing. His whole criticism is just like, it needs to be sadder, is what he's saying, right?
Right.
But what he's trying to convey is that this song is about yearning.
Yeah.
And their expressions don't give that. But I think it's because they're just so focused on like, I need to look sad as opposed to like, I need to put Meisner it. You know what I mean? Like sense memory that shit and put yourself in the in that vulnerable place so that when you're performing it, it evokes more.
I mean, I don't think it's like the best way to explain what they need to do, but he's not an acting coach. He's a
performance coach.
Performance coach.
But also, like, when he probably made this choreography for BTS, they're all in that state. They're all in like,
yes, that was,
we are trying, like we have
never won a music show.
Yes.
We have no wins to our name.
Yeah.
We're not doing great. Blah, blah,
that's what
blah,
he was like. I know that's what he's trying to go for and try to describe.
But also, like, they can't just. I don't want to say they can't get there because they could. I just think like it's hard.
It's hard. It's really
to
hard.
get to that like level of desperation when you have never. Well, I'm saying that and being like they are that desperate because they're trying to get in this fucking group.
Yeah.
If you could like reframe it for them as being like, as desperate as you are to make it in this group, that is what I need to see from you.
Yes.
And I don't need to see it in terms of like
your
polish. I need to see it in terms of like how hard you want this. Why it hurts. What hurts about it.
Because I notice it a lot I think Jake does a really good job of it. Like he does kind of access it like I'm practicing in front of a mirror, like I'm doing it. I think Ganu is the one that struggled with it the most because I think he's so focused on like it's got to be both, where it's like polished dance moves, but at the same time I'm evoking it.
Okay, can I say something?
Because remember, Sunduk was like too sexy. It's too sexy.
Yes.
Tone it back.
I was curious because it's missing from his face.
Yeah, that's been his whole thing.
Yes,
especially in the last.
Do you remember what? In the last episode, what his question was to BTS, and it was about him like if he's too expressive, it would like create wrinkles and like,
so it like doesn't look pretty.
Yeah, and I think that is like really getting to. I think it's like
I can't
fully baked itself into like I can't express myself fully because I'm worried that
I won't look pretty.
Yes.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, it hurt my heart because I objectively, I know that like K-pop is about looking pretty. Like that's not what it's about per se, but it's like part of the appeal.
The visual is a big part of it.
Right. But he is so handsome anyway. There's such a high standard in the idol industry that like doing anything makes it like you just are. It's scary to take that risk of looking stupid, looking dumb, looking silly. They're more comfortable doing that in variety than like performances. It's just a bummer because I think he is so incredibly talented. Yeah. And I do think he really got to show a lot on the show. Spoiler alert, he leaves. I do think he got to show a lot on the show. And I was so proud of him. And I was like searching for a photo last night to tweet out to be like, I'm just thinking about him because I really liked him on the show. But I didn't find one I wanted to use. Anyway.
Who needs a photo? We can just show this video of him doing Guilty.
Why did he... Okay. This challenge actually needs to stop. For my mental health, we need to like keep that locked up.
Because even in their dress rehearsal...
But in their dress rehearsal, yes.
They're still getting it from...
They're still getting that same note. But there is a difference in the energy that he gives them at this dress rehearsal, these notes, than the energy that he has for Fake Love. Okay? The check-in for Fake Love, we'll get to in a second, but it does not go well.
Yeah.
There is a lot of yelling. There is a lot of like deep frustration. And I think part of it is because the Fake Love situation is like about the musicality of it. And it's more frustrating as a dancer to be like, how are you not hearing that?
Hearing?
This is obviously like more expressive, more emotive. But there's a way that he says these notes that to me, when he was saying them, read as like, you guys are so close. You're right on the cusp of getting it. I just need you to push it like 10% further and you're like right there. Like, I know that they were very frustrated hearing this note again for the nth time. But the way I heard it, him saying it, was very like...
Filled with, with care, not with... Filled with that energy.
They were like close. Yeah. And I thought that I liked that moment because of course they didn't hear it that way because they're so in their head stressed at this point. But
what'd you think of I Need You.
I do think this is probably the weakest of the three. I do agree Gonu is not great.
It just feels like it's so funny because it feels like it's too deep for them to connect.
I mean, it's not. But the
it's
problem
not-
is
but
because on the surface, the song is about like wanting a girl.
Yeah.
So anyone should be able to do this, right? I understand this. I mean, I wouldn't be able to because like, why? But
So
you are
bored.
so needy today.
Frederick is so bored of this. Boring. Lazy.
I still thought it was a good performance.
I thought it was a good. I still think it was good for what it was. I
think Jungwon is so
Jungwon
talented.
is so talented, and I think Jungwon and Jake do a really good job with it. I do agree that I think Gonu and Daniel are the weakest.
I think Jake is good. I think Jake has like a narrative in the show that he's like doing better each time he performs. And I'm not even saying that as like he's not actually doing better. I think he is doing better each time he performs. He's on a clear trajectory of just like his skills keep improving. The Gonu situation is like they sent him to ground because they felt like he wasn't getting better. And then this like felt like, yeah, he's still not getting better. And it's frustrating because like if you fully ignore his face, which I agree is not where it should be, he's hitting the moves. He sounds so good in the song. It's just like, just that is like off enough. And of the three songs, it's the song that you need the most like expression with. I felt bad. I feel really bad. And Daniel, I thought was actually good. I actually thought Daniel was very good in this.
I think so too.
I disagreed with how low he was ranked. And then they get 275 points. So they're number two.
Number two.
Right now.
DNA still holding the top spot.
Fake Love has the storyline that everyone wants to have. If this is what you tell yourself when your dress rehearsal for your spring musical goes really shitty.
Bad dress, good opening night.
Bad dress, good opening night. Yeah. They are just... They're very... Okay. There's a combination.
There's a lot of things.
They're upset. They don't like that they have the song because it's high.
It's high.
Now, wildly, they lowered and I Need You.
Yeah.
They lowered both of those from their original key. So everybody chill out for a second. Any other song would have been better, which I actually disagree with.
I disagree. I think they were the right people to do this number.
The one that like has the most contemporary dance, yes, except for one person. Okay, here's what I.
This is the main problem.
This is my. I'm gonna lean in. This is my fundamental disagreement with this episode, or this challenge, I should say. It is one thing to be like, these three people won the dance battle challenge, so they get to pick their teams. That's what would happen on Drag Race. You do a mini challenge. You pick the two, and then you pick the team. The addition that the winner was like also picking whatever and then had to be the leader. People should be the leader if they want to be the leader. In no world is Taki ready to be a leader. And I say
he knows that. Everyone in the room knows
he's
that.
He's not confused. He's not been seeking out being a leader and then it like doesn't go well.
Yeah.
That's a different story. That is not what happens here. He is foisted this role upon him and then he cannot meet it because he doesn't know what the fuck he should be doing because nobody has been like, here are the qualities for being a leader. Of course, like he's had leaders in the past, but like that's not a skill you just develop through osmosis.
Just because you're told like, okay, now you're the leader.
Right. That is like a huge issue in this episode. I think because of the stress of that, I think he does have a hard time with the choreo.
Yeah. Just like has a mental block about it.
He is not a lyrical dancer. And there is but like Fake Love does have a more contemporary, not hip hop style dance. And I don't think Taki, because he's not like classically trained or like trained in that way, I should say.
Or has that musicality.
Yeah, he just doesn't have that in himself yet. He hasn't learned it.
Yeah.
He reads more wooden when I know he's like capable of doing excellent dance, but like this is not the song.
It's not his song
for him.
Yeah, at at this
point,
stage of his career.
Yeah.
And that ends up being the big problem in their midway check. He is like too fast. He's not with the music at all. And Sun Duk really just lays it on thick of like, you're not, can you not hear it? If you can't hear it, then I don't even know if that's something we can fix.
At the group check, he's like, why are you the leader if you're not like, this isn't good? It's your responsibility to make sure this is good. Oh, Taki, this isn't your fault.
Everyone, all of these boys know that he shouldn't be a leader.
Yeah.
And there was this very sweet moment after that group check. Heesung sits with Taki. Because Taki just cries, obviously. This was the moment that I was like, Heesung just like naturally cares about other people.
This and is, first of all, I cried twice in this episode, and both of them were because Heesung was so kind.
Yeah.
And
oh my God.
I'm not crying right now.
You are, girl.
I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not. Heesung is, I think up until this point, I would have been like, oh, it would be great if he makes the group, but like, I don't know if I was voting, I would vote for Heesung. Because I'd be like, oh, he's such an ace. But like, there wasn't, up until this point, I don't think there would be anything that would compel me narrative-wise to want to vote for him.
Because he did lay low. He really laid low the entire part one after
that first, like, he tries to be a leader, he falls back, whatever. After that, he really doesn't have a storyline in that first half of the show. He's just like really talented. This is so kind and sweet. And as frustrated with that like group check-in as I'm sure he was, because he is just like everyone else, just as much a perfectionist, just wants to get it down as perfectly as possible. He puts that aside because he knows that they are not going to be able to do anything as a team if they can't get Taki out of this like rut.
Yeah.
It's very selfless. It's very caring. It's very collegial. It's so kind. I just was like,
you don't have to do any of this.
It reminds me of like on Great British Bake Off, where like someone has finished early, so they'll step in to help someone else finish their bake. And he could just let Taki squander, and then like he would still be like, Heesung is gonna be fine because he's so good at this. But he knows that like that's not gonna help anyone if he can't get Taki to a better place of like reframing and recontextualizing this. And so they end up sharing the workload as leader. They're like co-leaders. Works with Taki. He helps Sunoo with his vocals. And I feel like watching, there is like a level with Jungwon in this episode too, where I was like, oh, he's very much he has natural leader energy. The part where Jungwon was leaning against the glass with someone and he just had this a very evocative, like, I want to take care. And I think Heesung has that too. And I think after watching the show, I'm curious if people were like shocked that he didn't get leader or like didn't want to be leader, because with this episode specifically, he is so good at it that I was like, oh, wow.
It reminds me a lot of, honestly, like the Jiwoong Song Hanbin dynamic of, I think Jiwoong has like that natural, and I think Heesung does too, like he will naturally take care of you even if he's not leader. And I like that more of someone not being the leader. So that way everyone, including the leader, can be comforted.
Honestly, pays off. Because at their performance, the judges agree it was the best. They get 306, so they're in spot 1. That puts I Need You down in spot 3. What did you think of the performance?
I really thought that Heesung and Sunghoon, this is the level that they're looking for. This is what they hoped to see from everyone. Of just like really understanding the music, like a mix of like your personal bests, like what you're really good at, bringing it and translating it into the challenge.
Yes.
I think they are the two like best performers in the entire episode. I think sunoo does a really good job. I think he is the best person that does like expressions, and they even call him out on it.
I think on the of all 12 contestants,
he's
I think he is the best. That is, he's best at emoting.
Yes, it's just perfect television of like obviously having the best performer and the worst performer in the same group, especially setting it up that like the winning group will be immune. So if the person is the worst, I literally like as the fake love was going on, I was like, it's gonna be Taki. He's gonna get 12, but he's gonna be saved because of this group. Yeah, I do agree with their feedback of Taki.
Bang PD says there are times when he's good and there are times when he's not. And I think it's more that like, it's not even like, he makes it seem like it's very wishy-washy. Like it's just a chance of the day. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's it. I think it's what Taki feels comfortable in. When Taki feels comfortable doing the things that he knows he can do well, he is like, he
stands out.
Yes, it's incredible. When he's doing things that he's like less comfortable with, he like withdraws a little bit and it gets a little stiff. Because you don't want that. Like it sucks to watch because he's capable of it, but he's just not at that place mentally where he can be like, I'm just gonna power through it. I do think of the three, I do think this is probably the best performance. Did the vocals sound live?
I think they all recorded sweetener tracks, or they were recording during the dress, and then so they have a backing while they're singing. This was the one where I heard their live the least.
That is what I felt as well.
DNA had the most, I think.
DNA felt the most live. This felt the least live. Yeah.
It really didn't affect me, or like I didn't think a type of way, but they kept bringing it up that this is a live challenge over and over again for everyone. Yes. So I was like...
They in the room are hearing the live vocals. Yeah. Like they're all in the same physical space together. So the producers all heard whatever the hell they heard.
Yes. But we're not hearing that.
We're not necessarily hearing.
They're mixing a sweetener on it.
Right. And this is why, like, where are the vocal coaches? Where is, like, heesung can't be doing this alone, girl. Like, there needs to be a professional to be like, ha.
That's it. Because even when...
Just throw it away.
Because everyone who was struggling with their vocals, I was like, it's because you're all pitching.
Yeah. They're just
they're screaming it. They're straining it. And I'm like, you have to... I just need...
I know. But I did like this performance. I love Fake Love. It's one of my favorite BTS songs. So I was already sat.
So you agree with the rank?
Of the three groups, you mean? I think so. Because Fake Love wins, they're immune. So if any of them are 12th, it goes to spot 11 is going to go home.
And because they win, their ranks are announced first.
In first place is heesung for all 12. Heesung is first. I'm not going to say the numbers because it doesn't matter. I mean, it does. His score is like 92.
Yes.
And it's like a 12 point difference. Are like, the best episode for heesung so far in the show. I think. He has like a great performance. He has great skills. He has like great relationships. It's like this is like the energy. This is like a Sunghan Bin level, like, you are made to do this. 3 is Sunghoon. Sunghoon takes 3rd, and sunoo takes 5th. And then Taki takes 12th. Now, I want to say one thing about sunoo.
Sunoo?
Yeah, sunoo. In his critiques, or in their like deliberation, Sun Sung-duk says he feels like he finally saw Sunoo's masculine side.
This is coming from a company that benefited from
Park Jimin. Sorry.
Literally.
Like
it was not meant in intentional maliciously and whatever. Yes. They're really just like, I want to see can he do the harder stuff too?
Yeah.
But I am always a person of like, if you don't give people the opportunity to do that,
it's just more
how
that
can
I
they
know.
Prove themselves? But I know
much like anything.
Yeah. I'm sure that's a legit thing that they probably judge him for and think about. Even probably as just like a trainee for the show. Like, should we put him in the show for this?
Yes. And here is my thing about it. there is just this constant refrain in a lot of aspects of whatever that anything resembling femininity is not as good as masculinity. So the inherent, like, well, we know Sunoo's really good at the soft stuff, but like, is he actually good at what's difficult?
But that's, yeah.
And it's like, do you think it
is easy to be?
I would not buy heesung. And he basically says in the episode, because they like have the moment where they do like
the cute
Sunoo's
stuff.
doing like aegyo. And
they're like, oh God, I could never do that.
And heesung's like, I would be so embarrassed. And Sunoo's like, why? It's so much fun. It's stupid. And that is just as difficult because you have to believe in what you're doing. Like,
and that is why he is number one in votes. Not care about like what people look and what people think about you, of how you look.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, yeah, whatever. And the entire time I was like, he's winning because of it.
Yes.
Solely on that.
Yes.
Because he didn't get a lot of screen time because he wasn't in Iland.
Yes.
Solely on that is how he became number one in votes, girls.
Yes.
But it's not clicking for them.
No.
It never does, I feel like.
No, it doesn't. Because
so crazy.
Because at the end of the day,
so crazy.
Homophobia, which I'm not saying there's any homophobia happening right now.
No.
But homophobia is just misplaced misogyny, and it is a rejection of the feminine, and a fear of it, and a seeing is less than. So I just want to remind everybody that that's what's going on. Okay? And Taki gets 12.
Taki gets 12. So immediately his banner is like not red, but 11th places. So all the girlies now know that if you're 11th, you're out.
You're out.
They all go back to Iland, and Iland. Taki is is racked with guilt. Like he cannot contain himself. And I would be too. Like,
this is the second time I cried when the egg turned around and they finally were out of the vision of the producers, and heesung hugs and it's like, it's
gonna be okay.
It's okay.
It'll be okay.
You're okay. Knowing that Taki is like, I should be going home. No one should be saved, or no one else should have to go home because I got saved.
Yeah.
And it's like now full survivor's guilt, and I will be shocked if Taki doesn't go home next episode.
Yeah.
Because it's going to
votes.
It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be what it is. Let's say that. It's going to be what it is. Here's the rest of the lineup. Jungwon gets second. Deserved. I maybe for this would have put Sunghoon second and probably Jungwon third.
I agree.
But they're all 1, 2, 3 right there. K is fourth. And I don't think he's happy about it.
It's so crazy how Kate is he can't believe he got fourth. He is so focused on being the best.
Yes.
And it's becoming a detriment to how he's being presented. They don't know.
It is tipping into the territory of he is looking greedy. Even though he was like willing to not do PO1 in this challenge because he was like, I think Niki would be suited better for it. Like, I don't think he is inherently greedy. I think he has that, like, again, we were talking about it, that stupid dancer mentality of like everything has to be perfect. Mm-hmm. And if it's not, then it's like a failure. It's like perfect or nothing, which is like not a helpful way to live your life. I say this as someone who deals with perfectionist problems. It's not giving K maybe the image he probably is wishing that was being edited his way. 6 is J.
Which is so funny because in the deliberation, they were like, that feels right. Like, he's like, not the best, but not the worst.
Yeah. 7th is Jake. 8th is Niki. 9 is Hanbin. Slay. Which Slay?
I really thought, I was scared it was going to be between Hanbin and Gonu. So when Hanbin got 9th, I was happy because I really thought he did a great job in TNA.
I think he really did a great job.
It was his best showing in the entire show.
I think so too. Daniel and Gonu.
When Hanbin got 9th, Gonu knew. Before
they even perform, Taki is prescient enough to be like, I'm going to go home. Oh, I think he says I'm going to get 12th and somebody's going to have to go home because of me. And that's what's crazy. Daniel gets 10th and like breaks down. And it's very sweet because he's so young. Even though he's tall, he's young. Don't forget.
He's the youngest.
And Ganu goes home.
I do like the sentiments that Hitman Bang sent to Ganu. He was like, just because this opportunity is not for you, it does not mean you are by any means like less deserving of an opportunity.
Yeah, I would say it would hit a little harder maybe if he hadn't just told them that they were both useless on the stage. Maybe I would like feel like I would take it in a little bit more if you hadn't said those exact words to me.
Yeah.
Which he did. Just because you didn't get this doesn't mean you can't get another gig somewhere else. And he does.
And he does.
And we stan Just B. They all come out. He leaves. They all say their goodbyes. Heesung is again inconsolable. It's very sweet. It's so clear how much he cares. Let's talk about these midway global votes. J is 11th, and Niki is 10th, and K is 9th. Genuinely not what I was expecting.
Yeah. Crazy.
Hanbin is 8th. Okay.
They don't make it.
Daniel is 7th. Jungwon is 6th. I was shocked how low Jungwon was too.
Yeah.
Jungwon is 6th. Jake is 5th. Taki is 4th.
It's because they haven't really shown Jungwon's personality as much.
Yes.
They're showing him as like a very diligent,
Yep. Capable.
capable. But everyone else has shown a little bit more personality.
I agree. Taki is 4th. Sunghoon is 3rd. Heesung is 2nd. And Sunoo, once again, is number 1.
I'd say that.
And what about it? My girl.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.